Welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to jump into this with you today because we're tackling something that literally dictates the entire quality of our waking lives, sleep. But you know what? We're going to look at it from a completely different angle. For most of our lives, we're taught that sleep is just this passive biological function, right? You lie down, you wait, and you just sort of hope it happens. Well, what if I told you that sleep is actually a highly trainable skill? Just like lifting weights or learning how to play the guitar, it's a skill set you can completely master. So today we're going to break down the hard science and the exact tactical protocols that let you practice sleep instead of just crossing your fingers and hoping for it. I really want you to think about this for a second. What if you could close your eyes and be dead asleep in 120 seconds? I mean, it sounds like a literal superpower, but military pilots actually use these exact techniques to fall asleep instantly, anywhere, at any time. We're talking about falling asleep sitting completely upright in a chair, after drinking a coffee, and even under simulated machine gun fire. If they can learn to command their bodies to just shut down and recover in those insanely extreme environments, you can absolutely learn to do it in the comfort of your own bedroom. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our tactical training manual for today. 1. Sleep is a trainable skill. 2. The 2-minute military method. 3. Mastering the breath. 4. The tactical power nap. And finally, 5. Controlling your environment. Let's get to it. Section 1. Sleep is a trainable skill. Reframing how we approach rest. We so often view a restless night as this permanent personality trait, don't we? We catch ourselves saying, oh, I'm just a bad sleeper. But we really have to shift that mindset because the stakes here are incredibly high. Just look at the severity of sleep deprivation in this data from the CDC and Statistics Canada. Over 14% of adults struggle to fall asleep almost every single day, and nearly 18% have a really hard time staying asleep. Even in super disciplined organizations, less than 42% of the Canadian Armed Forces regular force members are getting the recommended 7 hours. So why does this matter so much? Well, because inadequate sleep isn't just about feeling a bit groggy the next day. It radically increases the risk of obesity, triggers a severe decline in cognitive function, and heightens cardiovascular risks. It's honestly a public health crisis. But here is the incredible news. Look at this number. 96%. This is the extreme success rate documented in Bud Winter's famous book, Relax and Win. You see, the military needed a foolproof way to ensure fighter pilots could rest under extreme stress, so they developed a very specific protocol. After just 6 weeks of practicing this method, 96% of Navy aviation cadets learned to fall asleep in 2 minutes or less. And remember, that includes the slow, the reluctant, and the totally skeptical cadets. So if 96% of highly stressed out pilots can do it, there's absolutely no reason we can't too. Moving on to Section 2, the 2-minute military method, the foundation of instant sleep. So this is the exact protocol that achieved that 96% success rate, and it relies entirely on systematic physical and mental relaxation. Because here's the secret, you literally cannot relax your mind until you have completely relaxed your physical body. So here are the steps. First, relax your face and jaw entirely. Actually, I'll ask you directly right now. Notice where you're holding tension in your own body at this exact moment. Are your shoulders kind of creeping up to your ears? Is your jaw clenched? Just let it go. Close your eyes and let your forehead, your cheeks, your jaw, and even your tongue go completely slack. Second, drop your shoulders as low as they can possibly go and let your arms and legs go completely limp. I know it sounds ridiculous, but imagine you're a jellyfish, just this heavy blob sinking deep into your mattress. And finally, and yeah, this is usually the hardest part, you have to clear your mind of active thoughts for a full 10 seconds. Now, to achieve that 10 seconds of a perfectly clear mind, the military actually uses very specific tranquil imagery. They instruct you to picture yourself lying in a canoe on a perfectly calm lake with nothing but a clear blue sky above you. Or imagine you're lying in a black velvet hammock in a pitch black room. You just hold that image, and you have to do it without letting any physical movement creep into the visualization. Because get this, if you picture yourself running, your muscles will actually micro-contract in response. Now, if visualization just totally fails you and your brain keeps racing, simply repeat the words, don't think, don't think, don't think, for 10 seconds. It absolutely works. And this brilliantly illustrates that we aren't just talking about old school theory here. It works right now, today. A 2022 Naval Aeromedical study tracking 57 cadets showed that by using these exact physical and mental relaxation techniques, their average sleep onset absolutely plummeted from 22 minutes down to just 6 minutes after 6 weeks of training. The science of progressive muscle relaxation, when you combine it with visualization, totally redirects the brain from anxious rumination. It works remarkably similarly to clinical cognitive behavioral therapy. Section 3. Mastering the breath, the science of triggering relaxation. Okay, so we've relaxed the muscles, but how do we force our internal biology to actually calm down? The secret is understanding this crucial mechanism, your parasympathetic nervous system. This is your body's rest and digest counter system to that famous fight or flight stress response. When you're lying in bed agonizing over tomorrow's to-do list, your sympathetic nervous system is firing on all cylinders. But by using controlled, extremely slow breathing, you can manually activate the parasympathetic system. It's literally like pulling the emergency brake on your anxiety. It physically forces your heart rate to slow down, lowers your blood pressure, and calms those racing thoughts.
One of the absolute easiest and most popular ways to do this is called box breathing. It is wildly popular among both beginners and elite military performers. Here's how you do it. You inhale deeply through your nose for 4 seconds, you hold that breath for 4 seconds, exhale slowly for 4 seconds, and then wait 4 seconds before you repeat the whole thing. You're basically just tracing a square box with your breath. It's a highly proven, rock-solid method to reduce stress and improve your mood simply by regulating your respiration.
Now, if you want to take it a step further to directly trigger sleep, you've got to try the 4-7-8 breathing method. You inhale through your nose for 4 seconds, you hold it for 7 seconds, and then, this is the key, you slowly exhale through your mouth, making a whoosh sound for 8 whole seconds. By making that exhale twice as long as the inhale, you are forcefully enhancing that parasympathetic activity. You're explicitly commanding your brain and your heart to calm down, which sets the absolute perfect biological stage for instant sleep.
Section 4. The Tactical Power Nap, Strategic Daytime Recovery.
Now, what's really interesting about this number is just how incredibly precise it is, 26. Because look, sometimes despite your absolute best efforts at night, you just need a daytime reset. A famous NASA study found that a 26-minute nap improved pilot performance by a massive 34% and their alertness by 54%. The military uses this exact framework as their baseline. Ideally, you want to aim for 10 to 20 minutes to make sure you stay in light sleep. If you sleep longer than 30 minutes, you risk dipping into deep sleep. And we all know what happens then, right? You wake up with that awful, groggy feeling known as sleep inertia. So keep it short, keep it tactical. And if you want the ultimate midday hack, you have to try the caffeine nap. Now, I know it sounds like a complete contradiction, drinking coffee to fall asleep, but it is an absolutely ingenious military trick. You drink 1 cup of coffee, so roughly 200 milligrams of caffeine, and then you immediately go to sleep for 20 minutes. Because caffeine takes about 20 to 30 minutes to absorb and actually hit your bloodstream, you get all the restorative benefits of that light sleep, and then you wake up right at the exact moment the caffeine kicks in. It is far more effective than just having a coffee or taking a nap on their own. It's a total game changer.
Section 5. Controlling your environment, setting the stage for success.
Listen, none of these amazing techniques are going to work if your surroundings are actively fighting against you. So let's rapid fire through the essential environmental controls to give yourself the best possible chance tonight. Light. Any light hitting your retina actively suppresses melatonin. You need total darkness. Seriously, invest in a good sleep mask or blackout curtains. Sound. Use NRR33 foam earplugs or a white noise machine to completely mask disruptions. Temperature. Oh, this one is huge. Aim for a cool 16 to 18 degrees Celsius. Your core body temperature dropping is actually a biological trigger for deep sleep. And finally, surface. All the research points to a medium firm mattress for the best, flat, consistent support for your body. Now let's see how this all builds into our daily habits. I want you to visually stamp this number right into your brain, 6 hours. This is the golden military caffeine rule. You must consume absolutely 0 caffeine within 6 hours of your planned sleep time. Why? Because caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 6 hours. Meaning, if you drink a coffee at 4 p.m., half of that caffeine is still actively blocking the sleep receptors in your brain at 10 p.m. No wonder you can't drift off. And to be perfectly clear, the military does not ban caffeine. They just optimize it. The military dose limits your intake to 200 milligrams, which is about 1 large cup of coffee. And they front-load it strictly within the first 2 hours of waking up. This perfectly aligns that caffeine hit with your body's natural morning cortisol peak. Pounding back 600 milligrams of caffeine all day long doesn't actually make you more alert. The research shows it literally just equals worse sleep, higher anxiety, and more jitters. So drink it early and keep the dose moderate. Now, what if you know a highly stressful period is coming up? Maybe a massive project at work, a newborn baby, or a week of shift work. You can use a fantastic military tactic called sleep banking. This means deliberately extending your sleep to 9 or 10 hours for several days right before the expected sleep deprivation.
Now, while you obviously can't totally cure severe sleep loss, studies clearly show that banking sleep beforehand builds a robust cognitive buffer. It drastically softens the blow of that incoming fatigue, keeping your decision making much sharper for a lot longer. Which brings us to the end of our explainer today, and to this final, really critical question. Are you ready to stop trying to sleep and start practicing it? By adopting these military methods, the systematic body relaxation, the very specific breath work, the precise tactical napping, and locking down your environmental controls, you take the power back. Sleep is no longer just this random thing that hopefully happens to you. It's a highly trainable skill that you can absolutely begin mastering tonight. I hope you have an incredible, deeply restful night, and I highly encourage you to put these tactics to the test.